Hi, welcome to the 10 square meter workshop. Recently I did a video on how you can make a jig to fit a DeWalt trim router onto DeWalt track. But things have moved on a bit since then. More after this. Although I use DeWalt track, I also use a piece of Makita track on my MFT table. This system was made before I made adapters so I could use DeWalt track on the MFT. And I still use it because it's a convenient length. And it's dedicated to use on the table. So it was obvious I should make another jig so I could fit this router to the Makita rail. And here it is. This is made in exactly the same way, although the dimensions are slightly different. Here's a drawing with the differences shown in red. All pretty straightforward. But as one of my viewers said, you really need a measuring gauge so you know where the slot's going to come. Measuring's all very well, but you can't beat a gauge for accuracy and making sure you don't make mistakes. So that's what I'm going to do. Make a gauge for accuracy and repeatability. I'm going to use a piece of scrap ply for this, which will fit next to the fence. First step is to put the hole to match the dog hole. You cannot rely on drilling holes sufficiently accurately, so I shall err on the high side and trim it back to make it an accurate fit. As you can see, the hole is just slightly out. Of course, if you have enough room on your table for 2 dog holes, that would be ideal. I'm going to use the end of my fence as the reference. I now trimmed it back to size using a disc sander. As there's only 1 dog hole in play, I shall reference it off the edge of the table with this block. A squeeze of glue. Clamp in place. And leave to set. And here it is, cut to size and cleaned up. It drops over the peg and doesn't move. For a scale, I've tried drag engraving on a piece of small aluminium plate. With a freshly cut slot, I fit the gauge. Next, I mixed up some epoxy. I use old milk bottle tops for this. Saves throwing them out. A thin layer on the back of the plate. Then I'll line up the 8mm slot marks with my 8mm hole. And I leave to dry. Marked with 3 common sizes of cutter, crude but effective. This is not just for trenching cuts, it can also be used to produce rebates at the end of wood. You could even cut tenons on it. I regard this as a very useful addition to my MFT system. It allows me to make rebates and trenching cuts as I go along. I'm sure you'd find it useful too. That's all for now. See you next time.